Here we go now.
You might be missing some of the benefits that stereo can provide.
Ah, I wish it didn't cut out at the end. Welcome back to another lap of To Be Married and Loved. Last time, Rick and Tinsel have actually decided to tie the knot on October 9th, 2577, which is actually a year, well actually 2 years, after they first met during Rick's salvage mission while he was looking for Samurai Goro at Planet Krypton for the stolen medication to heal those kids, which were the events of my one-shot The Samurai Returns. And coincidentally, this was the same date that was released on the Fox box back in 2004, the first anime episode I had seen. And thus, Rick and Tinsel had decided to visit Bert, who actually happens to be their personal tailor. And Tinsel actually got the idea of her own wedding dress from a bank that she has been painting with acrylic paints, and Rick has decided to use a cerulean tux, or rather a suit, based on Captain Falcon's attire. So, they still have a long way to go, and so they prepare themselves with the invites for the upcoming wedding. So let's get this started. Alright, lap 2. Of course, invitations had to be made, so back at the apartment, both Rick and Tinsel unanimously agreed to send over their friends from the Elite Mobile Task Force, as well as their comrades from the outside. From their mentor Bert to Luna and Rodney Stewart, her son Phoenix Levin, which was an idea from Butterscotch Pie, including Luna, the mighty gazelle Roy Hughes, his son Clank, and his best friend Alias, as well as his mom. When they got to thinking of the latter group, Rick suggested, "I think Samurai Goro and his family should also be invited." Tinsel, of course, turned bitter and rejected his decision. "Please don't give me that. That may be space..." He sighed. "Please don't give me that. They may be space pirates, but they won't start any more trouble since there'd be a ton of people. After all, he is my sensei, and he has taught me a lot involving my inner strength and our Japanese heritage." She hoped they wouldn't send in more threats. She could never get over the scoundrels they'd employed on the antics they caused throughout the galaxy, even incorporating his resentful rivalry with the late Captain Falcon. And since John Tanaka was his better self after his recovery from Dark Million's thrall, which isn't ending at all, Jody spread the news to his office and he volunteered to be the head of security. Looking back, he has regretted his wimpy actions from before. Let's hope the real John Tanaka would do the same, huh? Ugh, I hated his wimpiness in GP Legend. And his machine sucks, so I'm not very crazy about him. Heck, he even passed it on to the commissioner, so he also wanted to be a part of it personally. He was a little sorry he couldn't make it to the task force's last union, which was Jack Levin and Luna Stewart. It was actually from Butterscotch's one-shot. I forgot what it was called. Series of Unfortunate Events. Something like that. I'll probably give you a link or something. Tinsel also thought of her former duelist friends Yugi Muto and Joey Wheeler. She contacted the former's home at Domino City. His grandfather Solomon picked up. She asked if his prodigy was there, to which he answered, and he was ecstatic with the news. He requested for Joey, Taya, Tristan, and Makuba to come, though he reminded her that Seto, as far as they knew, used the quantum cube and transferred his soul into the netherworld to reunite with someone special. Hence his kid brother was in charge of his business. In fact, Yami, aka Atem with his real name and restored memory, can't make it. Yami? He can't make it to the wedding? But why? Has he passed away? Rick noticed her voice beginning to crack while holding the receiver. What's wrong? It's the ancient Egyptian pharaoh Yami, but his real name's Atem. Yugi said he can't make it to the wedding. What? But why? The kid said it was best if he should show them rather than tell them. They needed to wait several minutes for him to arrive in Mute City by hovercab. When he did, he didn't hesitate. Little did I know that Yami actually passed away in dark-sided dimensions, which I didn't bother with. While they were using a warp gate following directions from a GPS, Yugi showed Tinsel and Rick the burial site to where the sacred Millennium Puzzle was dismantled. At the abandoned Millennium Chamber, a secret cove which used to house all the cursed and blessed items of ancient Egypt, including Pegasus' Eye and Merrick's Rod. He explained after the dimensional battle, Atem guided Yugi and his friends one last time against a duelist named Diva in Kaiba Corp's virtual world. Tinsel was astonished they were dragged into that same warped dimension again, since their quest on rescuing Seto and Mokuba in a video game, which is the filler episodes. I actually like them, by the way, the virtual world saga. Sadly, after the puzzle was reconstructed, he was no longer in it. However, he was able to arrive and assist Yugi and Kaiba against the corrupt duelist, as well as the schizophrenic powers emanating from the Millennium Ring. Ugh. Bakura. Or is it Baruch? No, Bakura. Ugh. Never liked him that much. By the time the trio got there and surveyed the damage of the relics, Rick and Tinsel paid their respects with a moment of silence, and they shall never forget him nor his valiant deeds on assisting the late Captain Falcon and saving the universe. With the Silver Comet pilot starting to tear up, Rick tended to her, and the couple hoped that Atem would watch over them just as Falcon, Dr. Clash, and Haruka would. Tinsel wanted to send her invitations to Joey Wheeler and Mokuba Kaiba. When the go-lucky duelist received the call, he actually requested to invite his sisters Serenity, his best friends Tristan Taylor and Taya Gardner, and even his girlfriend May Valentine, to which Tinsel has some disdain for. Ugh, so do I. Never liked Mai very much. She's such a... Ugh. Like a backstabber. She acts like a narcissist. She's so goddamn snobby. Ugh, I never liked her. The trio then had decided to visit Yugi's old flame Taya. After he and his closest pals graduated from high school, which is after Dark-Sided Dimensions, they watched her take a jet one way from Domino City to Rick and Tinsel's hometown in order to pursue her lifelong dream as a professional ballet dancer. The couple were surprised that she wound up in Mute City and they didn't even notice her. In fact, it had been forever since the last time Tinsel saw her, which was just before she, Yugi, and Joey set foot on their adventures while following Falcon and participating in his dire missions, which is the events of Falcon's followers. They were fortunate that Yugi never lost touch, and Tinsel was curious if she was his love interest at one time. It was never easy in a long-distance relationship, nor Taya following her new career. Nevertheless, they stopped by at one of the places she frequented, and they had to wait till her audition was done. In the meantime, Yugi contacted Joey, Tristan, and Mokuba of the upcoming matrimony. As she was finally done, Taya felt so thrilled, though she hardly remembered Tinsel. Yugi reminded the tyro on who she was and how she was a former duelist trainee, as well as an assistant to him, Joey, and Yami. Even when she was borrowing monsters during certain emergencies, such as the ones at the Crystal Cup and the Fake Star Cup. It stirred up some bitter memories for Rick, though. You'll see those episodes. Crystal Cup was actually supposed to be the Christmas Cup in Japan, which is like double jeopardy. And the Fake Star Cup was actually the Sniper Pico. Rick actually got huge probation for both events. Damn you, Jody! He was only trying to do the right thing and help Alias twice. Well, counting the Samurai Returns. Still, ugh. Believe it or not, even though it's been 6 months after the farewell of Yami when he retrieved his memories, which is the last episode in the classic Yu-Gi-Oh!, Taya actually guided them through the invitation process, such as making a large list of invites including their names, addresses, and contact info. The first step was to set a date including the couple's names and the date and time of marriage. Second was the invitations, to which they should be sent out at least 6 weeks before the due date, including names of couple, date, location, and time. Tay explained the RSVP card was a smaller card that's sent with the invitation. This was an optional but helpful inclusion to the package. She informed them it comes with an envelope and gives the recipient of the invitation the ability to tell the pairing if they are coming, the number of guests, and their preferred dish for the dinner. The recipient would have to mail them back to Rick and Tinsel in Mute City so they'd know how many people their wedding would need to be prepared for. Taya actually suggested directions to where the wedding would be, since some of their friends could be far away. She would also help on creating and sending multiple samples, but her schedule could be pretty tight. If not, they may choose Lucy and Luna instead. When the soon-to-be couple arrived back at their flat, it reminded them of their personal transport from the reception to their honeymoon. They had chosen and discussed with PJ upon using his groovy taxi instead of a fancy limo, as they reminisced taking him in after the explosive incident at the Empyrean colony, which you would see my first video project, PJ the Empyrean Colonist, to which the adorable alien accepted it. So eventually, once the invitations were developed by Taya and were being sent out, the rambunctious Arrows got wind of the announcement. So, they received the pair's number and wanted to be a part of the action, much to Tinsel's uncertainty. If you've seen Cold as Ice, my one-shot, you should know this. I'm not too crazy about the Arrows, especially Super Arrow. Believe it or not, though, I actually like him over Captain Quark from Ratchet and Clank. I believe that Super Arrow is a lot more tolerable than he is. And I wish there was a death battle. As she was trying to voice her opinions, Mr. Arrows always talked her off and immediately took the offer without receiving the package. As Actaman got his invite, he can only bring in one of his cephalopod kin, while the rest of his family has to stay in Takora for security reasons. How big is your family, anyway? Counting my wife and kids. Oh, I would say about 20 and counting. Ah, jeez! Sorry I asked. Believe it or not, it's actually based on Octoman's dream in the anime. It might be more than 20, though. Maybe 200, I don't know. But it was crazy. I didn't like it very much. Soon enough, Lily Flyer of the Galactic Space Forces Beat, Louis Legend, Catherine Wilson, and Cynthia Gray were also added to the list, though they had never heard anything back from them weeks later. It was obvious since Lily was too busy as a young cadet, while the others remained unconfirmed. Altogether, there were 36 applicants for the wedding, with just 250 space credits ahead. So, inviting the latter four characters were suggested by my old friend Butterscotch. However, since she had been absent for over a year on DeviantArt, and is still absent a lot, working with them would be too complicated. Pardon me, Butterscotch, since they had been omitted. If only I would have the chance to see and work with you again. Ever since she started college, I'm not sure when she would ever return. Anywhere, actually. Well, actually, she finished college and she got a new laptop, but I never heard from her again, especially with the pandemic going on. Speaking of complications, I never saw the movie Dark Side of Dimensions. I hadn't watched the Yu-Gi-Oh! Series all the way through due to its mounting complex plots there, starting with the Wake of the Dragons. So I kinda bailed on the movie as well. Also, it wasn't a smart idea releasing it alongside DBZ's film, Watch Wrath of the Gods. It's like comparing an ant to a human foot. You got squashed badly, 4K media. And that was why I found out so late on what happened to Yami and Atem. It really was a hard loss knowing he's in the netherworld now, as is Kaiba, which was a huge relief. I guess the cute Mokuba would be a successor? Anyway, not everyone was invited to the occasion, which was good, considering the fic would avoid complications and also make the preparations a little bit cheaper. So, I guess that's it for this lap. Until then, this is the Ecron Writer signing out. Stay tuned for the next lap. And by the way, the intro that I played, the Top Gear 2 theme, was actually a theme I chose for Rodney Stewart, believe it or not. So, see you guys later.